old bia here up on my desk. So I'm sitting in a chair. My lamp back here, I'm going to remove the lampshade because the white stark light is the best light to be able to find these buzzes. And actually bright stage lighting is fantastic. I have to usually rope the lighting guy into, or gal, into keeping one setting on for a while if I have to do this before a concert. So this is pretty good. Now this bia has been through a lot. I've had a lot of pieces over the years come out or have to pick them out. Now there's a couple of different ways to do this. No matter what, you have to find out where the buzz is. Right, so that's what we're going to look at first, locating the piece that's buzzing. So as you can see, if I zoom in here, this is made of a lot of little pieces. Originally it's just a solid black paste, but as it dries, it cracks and becomes like this. So those pieces over time, they get loose and they pop out. Or you pick them out. And some of these have just, obviously there's like a Grand Canyon over here. Some of these have just come out during playing, and some of them I've picked out and then filled with a little bit of Elmer's glue. So the first stage is locating the buzz. Now what you do next, there are some choices. We could use super glue, right? And what some folks do is take the watery version of super glue, and when you find the piece, rather than pick it out, if you put really fine drop of the super glue right on that dot, it'll soak in around that piece, hopefully, and kind of solidify that piece in place. Now, if you do that too much, if you put too much glue in an area, if you just go like, oh, I think it's over here somewhere, and then you just start smearing glue, the reason that this is all in little pieces is so that it helps it vibrate, right? So if the pieces are connected, it won't vibrate so much. If they're disconnected, there's the ability for vibration to pass through those pieces. So we don't want to kind of overdo the glue, whether it's Elmer's glue or super glue. But anyway, that technique can work, and that way you're not picking out pieces of the siahi here. The other technique, which I've used for a long time, so I use both those techniques. What we're going to do today is the Elmer's glue pick it out version. Is you locate the piece, you actually take a sewing needle and pick out that piece so that there's no chance of it starting to buzz, because sometimes that super glue or just the glues on top of the siahi there, and then once you do some scraping and once a little bit time goes by, that layer comes off and then the piece just starts buzzing again. So picking it out will solve that. However, picking it out will also cause a little bit of area that pieces around the empty hole now could break loose. So you want to secure the walls of that hole you just made. So that's when you take out your little thing of Elmer's glue, which is a fairly nice glue. It's kind of soluble and you can kind of play with it. It doesn't dry right away. You can scrape a bit off if it gets on the surface. And just fill the hole with that and let it dry. And that'll secure all the pieces around the hole. All right, so what we're going to do today is take our sewing needle, have that handy, right? So that's available. I usually just put it in my mouth, actually, just the just the handle in my mouth, and have that ready. So when I find the buzz area, I don't have to like leave what I'm doing to find the needle. I can just grab it and pick it out. And then I've got the Elmer's glue there. If I was going to do the super glue version, I've got that hanging around. And at least when I'm home, I have the luxury of a magnifying glass. This can really come in handy, especially as you get older and your reading glasses maybe don't do the job anymore. The reason that I don't use the LED lighting, it's not necessary for this, is because you want the lighting to come from the other direction, bouncing off of the syahi. And then you put this between and we can see. All right, let's get to it. All right, so if that's difficult to see, let's use this guy. Now with this, you see something unusual here. Kind of see it if I turn angle. We've narrowed it down. It's easier to see it from this angle. A little flutter there in the center. It's pretty subtle. But let's grab that guy. It just popped out. So that's the hole right there. I will put a little bit of Elmer's on there. So it doesn't take much, like I was saying. This is actually almost too gives out a little bit too much, but see there? It's filling in the gap. That's basically what we want, and then we can rub off any that's on the surface there. And just let that dry. Now I also just put some into the big Grand Canyon here. Alright, just to solidify the edges of that. And Elmer's glue is slightly flexible. And so it should not mute it too much. All right. Well, look at there. Another one. So with this biab, we could do this all day long. Let's see, where am I? Somewhere right in there. Let's see. That piece right there. Right. So we would go through this process and slowly, this drum probably has, it could be 10 different areas where there's little pieces that add up to that pretty big buzz. Some of those areas might be in these holes that were not filled with Elmer's glue. And some may be just sneaky and hiding. Occasionally you'll see people turning the baya or the dia upside down and hitting it nice and hard. Sometimes that combined with gravity will make it at least stick out a little bit. Then when you turn it back over, you might see it just kind of poking up above the normal level of the syahi.